Alright, welcome back everyone. 欢迎大家回来。今天是第43天。It is day 73. Have I ever tried edamame pasta? What is this? What is this neo Americana Norwegian nonsense? How dare you blast? No, I'm just kidding. I don't think so. Sounds delightful though. Did you just? Are you telling me you have access to edamame pasta? Sounds expensive. You better not. We're in slippery. We're on thin ice. We're saying edamame pasta here. Sub-Zero. That's like saying cauliflower pasta. We gotta be careful here. It is. That's the downside. Wait, what do you mean by it is? That's the downside. Wait, is the edamame pasta not good? Oh, the downside of being expensive, right? Yeah, it sounds really expensive. Yeah, because edamame is like pound for pound. That's really tough. Yeah, the macros must be nice. Dude, pop in edamame. Okay, that sounded like some substance or something. But edamame is great. It keeps well too. Like, do you ever get frozen edamame? Frozen edamame is great. You just chuck them in the freezer, pull them out. They work. They store very well. You ever had? Oh, okay. This might be slightly hitting the macros, but you ever had dehydrated edamame or like dehydrated peas, like pea pods, snow peas? That's pretty delicious too. Yeah, you just put them on a bowl and let them like come back to room temperature. Pretty solid. Not really. You can steam them back up, but yeah. Expensive though. Yeah, edamame is pretty expensive. And then needing enough to like, obviously you're not using the whole edamame, you're probably using the pods, right? Using that to make pasta. Comparing anything with like flour pasta is asking for a price asking for a price premium. But yeah, I do be eating a lot of edamame. Yeah. If they're available. Great for protein shakes, obviously. Edamame has a very muted, like, earthy tone, so it can substitute for like nuts. Like these nuts. I'm kidding. Like, if you want to switch it up from like peanut butter or some sort of high, nuts, like nuts, edamame is a great replacement. You also bought 2 other types as well, black beans and 1 soybean one. I think one thing that people talk about sometimes, like influencers and whatnot, raise some fear about is, I think, let me make sure before I say this. So, you probably already know. Soy proteins, yeah. You probably already know. Like, if you are someone who's very sensitive to hormonal imbalance, like you have some already, because that does happen. That happens a lot more. It's a lot more common than you would think. Maybe on the same level of celiac, right? Because you're familiar, Sub-Zero, you already shared about celiac. Sometimes large ingestion of soy proteins can like make things a little weird. So I don't want to like go in. I don't want to be a fearmonger. So I really like soy protein. Like I eat a lot of tofu, so that's probably one of those things. It comes across a lot of times, but I'm a tofu champ. I buy tofu a lot as a protein substitute, as a meat substitute, in case I don't want to mess with that. Actually, tofu, I know this is gonna sound blasphemous too. I substitute blocks of cheese with tofu. Like if you want to create like paneer, for example, you know, like in Indian cooking, when you use paneer cheese, if I'm not gonna try to avoid being gassy and stuff, I substitute tofu for paneer, or vice versa sometimes. But tofu is like firm tofu, or baked 5-spice tofu. That's like a snacking thing, but it's kind of expensive to prep. 5-spice baked tofu. Sub-Zero. You've coincidentally checked your hormones a few years back. Actually, came back okay at least. Okay. Yeah, it can kind of like destabilize some things. I think I'm not entirely sure about this. This isn't medical advice or dietitian advice, but I think there are signs of irregularity that is fairly harmless, that can be signs of maybe too much soy protein that can affect you. But generally speaking, I think it deals with excessive consumption. Like most of these things are excessive consumption of them, like an entire diet built around soy protein. But yeah, you really like soy protein soup, but majority of your sources are from whey and meat though, so it should be okay. Yeah. And we're talking about someone who like exclusively consumes soy proteins. I really enjoy protein. For sure, tofu is like massive source of soy protein for me. Yep. And we're on the same page. Vegan bodybuilders, perhaps. Yeah, probably vegan bodybuilders. That's a exceptional group for that type of thing. What did I do yesterday? Oh yeah, I flipped the table yesterday. Basically threw my threw my pen across the room. I'm kidding, figuratively. In my head, I did. All right, so how can is this really from yesterday? All right, they want good looking. I wrote nice looking. We're not gonna talk about it. I think some of this is from from the other day. Jerk reflex, Kai, instead of Guan. To be visible instead of to appear. Jeez. You've also heard some say soy protein isn't as effective or complete protein as animal protein. Yeah, I don't know much about that either. I think we're going into the realm of negligence, and not negligence as in like neglecting things, but negligible statistical differences, if you know what I mean. Like we're going into the field of min-maxing through corollary studies and like exceptional translational correlations between high dose artificial environments with animal studies to humans. But I would say probably, even if it's a less effective, it's probably statistically negligible, right? So you eat your proteins. I think not eating your proteins not eating proper balanced diet is far less effective than comparing the min-maxing of where your protein sources come from. Like, if someone likes their soy protein, I prefer, in my opinion, I prefer them consume soy protein to get protein than not at all, or have an unhealthy relationship with animal proteins. If you know what I mean. Like, developing an eating, it sounds a little extreme, but developing a potential eating disorder or a poor habit formation with diet is far exceeding the efficacy and effects on your gains when you're not having a sustainable relationship with food. Sometimes that gets overrated, or that gets underrated a lot of times. I meant to say overlooked a lot of times. Like, for example, someone who says no carbs, right? No carbs, and it works because that person had a high carb diet before, right? But it's not to say that you can't have carbs. The idea is you're trying to balance the diet. So there are ways that you can eat carbs to actually not bounce back from carb starvation. That kind of thing. Like, sustainability is when you gain back to a normal, sustainable level of balanced meals. In my opinion, balanced meals are far more sustainable than your extreme trend diets of zeros and ones. Like, absolutely no carb. Well, if you have the will, you have the way. Congrats to you. The statistical average, have your favorite carbs every once in a while, starves away that constant rebound, right? Too extreme. It's kind of like nowadays when we talk about a study comes out, quote unquote, a study comes out, oh my gosh, this thing is cancerous in 10 times the dose. It's like, do you really love that thing that much that you'll consume 10 times the dose of your body weight or something? Like, the sacrifice you have to make by constantly removing your joy of food and eating, it's negligible in the long run if you're eating it in moderation. So there's a point, in my opinion, there's a point in time when you sacrifice so much of the quality and excitement and the pleasure of life in order to min-max your way to a insignificant gain in something compared to how much quality of life gain you can have. So again, if you have a problem with eating ultra processed foods and all that stuff, I totally understand. That doesn't mean occasional ultra processed foods, for example, can't bring an unequivocally disproportionate joy that can help you not end up suddenly relapsing back to an ultra processed exclusive diet. Which that's why I kind of have a slight pet peeve about crash diets, like things that are zeros and ones without moderation and no like user oversight. Like, there's no negotiation. So often it's not true anymore. Like, those are certainly the most effective diets, right? Address the problem point, remove it entirely, and sustain that for as long as possible. But then what happens when you have to go back to normal diets? Quote unquote, a sustainable diet, you know, like when you no longer need those dramatic measures. Well, you don't learn any of that stuff. You don't. So when you crash out of your diet, what do? You relapse. Because you have no way of knowing what is normal, what is moderated, how to balance your pleasures in life while aiming and tweaking, you know. So oftentimes thinking the long game, the long road is a little bit more manageable. It's crazy. Yeah, rebound is much more like, yeah, rebounding is so rough. Like, and then you have in my opinion, this might be a little bit fear mongering. When you rebound, you hate yourself even more a lot of times. Like, oh, now you know what it's like to be good, right? Like, oh, I did this. And then suddenly when you rebound, you get hit hard double the time. Not only is it so fantastically awesome to do this, like biologically, psychologically, it's so awful to fall back into that pattern. So not only do you feel so good, you feel awful that it feels so good. And that's kind of like the double dip, and it's such a tough cycle. I'm not sure what the science is right now, the evidence in longevity, like longitudinal studies, because these things take generational follow-ups. But a person who constantly goes on a diet and rebounds, throughout their life, how much of an impact does that have on overall longevity? Like someone who's constantly min-maxing their nutrition versus someone who's steadily maintaining. Like, does that, because there is an argument for maybe body tolerance, like maybe keeping that dynamic thing makes your body more sturdy. I don't know. I'm not a gastroenterologist, but I feel like constantly going on min-maxing diets will wreck your microbiome. So it will ultimately take a tax off of your GI system over time. So effectively, those who constantly min-maxing stuff will end up balancing. Maybe they do gain some time, but they might end up balancing out with someone who's moderately consuming various things, right? So it's tough. I think, in my opinion, in an ironic way, I guess, life is too short to deprive you of every single instance of things you like, because the thing that you like in excess, which is most things, is viewed and overblown as deleterious. Actually, eating is deleterious, but we're not going to overblow that, right? Cellular respiration, living is deleterious. So it's nice to see that this is less of a dialogue that I have with people anymore with their eating preferences. Before the internet, like a little bit before the internet, but also like out the early days of the internet, those were like maybe in the middle, where information was easily manipulated and pooled to single influential sources. That got wild. Things got so wild. Like someone genuinely in science, like colleagues who, like, I still remember a colleague who told me they were on a juice cleanse. I'm like, we're biologists, right? I mean, certainly we're not dietitians or medical professionals, but I mean, you could get psychological benefits from thinking you're doing something that violates our understanding of homeostasis, the homeostatic systems in our body, but that does happen. It was so prevailing that I hear colleagues who spend money on like 3 times the pricing of some magical juice cleanse regimen. I mean, if you want to do a juice cleanse, you might as well just drink water the entire time, but and then supplement with whatever your nutrients is. But man, even paying for a juice cleanse, it's so weird. This has happened before. Maybe like it's not that long ago. Maybe like 9 or 10 years ago. Maybe a decade ago. Misinformation is wild. It's very wild. It's not. I don't think it's like that as much nowadays because of pushback and whatnot. But you get both sides. In my mind, I know I should take the long road when dieting, but it's also harder to keep yourself motivated if you're only gonna lose 2 pounds a month. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, it's tough. It's kind of like learning a language, right? Sub-Zero? It's tough when you can't resist wanting to shell out that $300 for the crash course to become fluent in 1 month for Japanese language learning. As opposed to, I don't know, learning 100 words every 3 months by heart or something. Or forming basic paragraph sentences for the first 2 or 3 years of your target language learning. And being happy with it. Remember all the questionable fitness apparel ads like 15 years ago? Dude. Do you remember have you seen the Hawaiian chair commercial? I actually saw that when it was on the channel, like on TV. I saw the Hawaiian chair thing, or these are hot takes. Not sure if these products still exist. I'm sorry. We're gonna mention it lightly. I can see where they're going. However, with more information comes more things. The bow? This thing? What was it called? A flex bow? A flex bow. Flex bow. Or oh gosh. Okay. I'm gonna try to draw. What was it? It's kind of like this. The shake. The shake weight thing. The shake dumbbell thing. The one where you make this motion. Come on, folks. If that wasn't an inspiration for that, I'm not sure. It's like there's a mobile part, but you hold the handle and you move back and forth, so the thing like shakes left and right. So you do them in a routine, but the routine itself is already a hit routine. Like a lot of it, the motion of the body, like the compound movements you're making, is the calisthenic part. So with or without those fancy shaking machines, you could be carrying books if you wanted. It's the extra weight that's creating the thing. But whole routines involving sitting down and shaking this thing is it's not that long ago, huh? It really wasn't that long ago. It's out crazy. And then after that came the nutrition thing, right? The nutrition explosion. Multi-billion-dollar industry. Multi-billion-dollar industry. Enjoy life. I think sometimes I don't want to be like devil's advocate here, but I'm going to this time. I would give up. Like for me, if keeping my weight slightly less ideal in order to enjoy the foods that I can have every once in a while, like a treat, right? Like slamming that Mountain Dew, the once in a blue moon I go out to eat socially. I take it. It's crazy. I mean, obviously I've asked a bunch of people and talked to a bunch of people nowadays, especially younger, like Gen Zs. Oh, they would give up those things in a heartbeat. And I'm like, okay. I mean, I guess you don't form attachments to them if you never had experienced them. They're genuinely not curious about any of those things. So that's perfectly acceptable, right? But that Mountain Dew though. But whenever I go out, like I only go out, I'm only guaranteed to eat outside like once a year. So when I go out and I walk into, I don't know, a CVS, I'm gonna grab a bottle of Muscle Milk. I know that's not like a core power like those pre-made shakes that taste like chocolate milk. Like for me, it might as well be chocolate milk, but they don't. They use like a sugar substitute, so they're even zero sugar. But most of the time, like they taste like. I can see why people drink these. But every once in a while, like, oh yeah, I'm out. I'm splurging on things that are considered alternatives for other people's diets. You know what I mean? Like instead of throwing back an energy drink, I'm like having a cup of tea in a year. like oh yeah, I finally ooh. Or like that's a bubble tea place. I gotta stop. We gotta get a bubble tea. It's like heck, I might even consume bubble tea. I don't know. That's one of the things. Like, oh no, but did you hear that so and so does this? You shouldn't drink these things. Like, all right. Slowly sipping. Like, I know what you mean. Don't worry, it's just this one. It's just this one. Just give me this one. I think at the peak of the 10-year, like maybe a decade ago, the peak of nutrition, you go into a place, right? And the person's like, oh man, we can't go here because my diet, my crash diet says I can't do this. And my thought was like, all right, do you mind if I get something? And then you get, and then they would get something else, right? And that's cool. But then they would spend so long talking about the things they miss. I'm like, okay, are you sure there's no way to negotiate this? You remember seeing an ad of those things you could have around the oh yeah, the electric, the stimulators. Yeah, the contracting stimulators. I thought so too. I thought, oh, that's kind of neat. That kind of makes sense. Yeah, the ab conductors, where they just send electrical signals to cause your abdomen to contract. You know what's funny about that? The abs thing? The dialogue is very different with abs now. It's largely, if you go to work out in most disciplines, you will have enough ab activity to not have to work your core. Unless you are specifically in a sport or something that requires additional like conditioning, ab workouts are more or less secondary, because maybe you just want extra activity. You can do your abs. Maybe your arms and your legs and your back and stuff are too sore. You do abs, but they're a second course. Abs are second course. You know, like when you go and lift weights, when you go and do calisthenics, your core is probably gonna not like secondarily be very, very well defined. So it's crazy to think that, I don't know, over 10 years ago, everything was about abs. Like, do your ab crunches. This is how you shed weight. This is how you shed toxins. This is how you fix your posture. This is how, like, everything was about abs. Yeah, squats too. Yeah. So, it's so, man, it got me talking about fitness. How it's one of those things like fads get so hyped. There's so much hype about fads. It's mostly genetics and because percentage, right? Yeah. BF percentage, visibility. If you're talking about visibility, right? Body fat percentage, and then genetics on how your abdominal muscles appear when they are visible. And ultimately, when you're doing any form of stability exercise, so if you need to stabilize your body, right? Compound movements, if you stay active, if you're running, a lot of times when you're seeking performance in any of those areas, your abs, your core is a secondary, if not primary, parts of that chain. So naturally, you do abs when the rest of your limbs are like noodles. you you painstakingly do abs when the rest of your body can't move anymore, I guess, because your core is it's like it's working all the time. Like most it's hard to define, but there's a reason why you can pump out so much more with your core than everything else. So, I don't know. I grew up in a time where you can spend like $400 or $500 on an ab course, and it would be a schedule of varying ab exercises that targets the same abs but in different ways. But they're still targeting the abs and activating the abs the same way. The thing is, they use volume to subterfuge to create this mask of saying, oh, this is different though. That's an oblique crunch. Oh, this is an oblique crunch. That's an oblique crunch. That's a fancy way of doing oblique crunch. Oh, wait. Let's sell you a tool for your obliques. I'm like, you can't spot. Like, what? You can't spot reduce your fat. Like, I don't, it doesn't matter how many, you hope that you do enough ab works to burn out calories, but boy howdy, there are much more, like, there are often less boring. We're not going to even say effective. We're not going to even use the word effective. If you're looking at a schedule of like 30 to an hour of all ab exercises for the rest of your week, boy howdy, if that says run, I'm gonna take 3 of those ab exercises out for a run. And then, oh yeah, you know what, let's take out this ab exercise for plank. So you know what, if I'm doing a plank, I might as well take another ab exercise out for push-ups, because you're still targeting your core when you're performing these movements. So the idea is like, dude, these programs, I can't believe they actually even worked to get people to stay on long enough to collect money. You're think about buying a program where the entire program is to focus on giving you enough ab exercises that it keeps you occupied for all of your physical activity. That's like min-maxing your mealtime with chicken, broccoli, and rice for the rest of your life. How naive some of us were back in the day, doing specific ab exercise, expecting to see protrude. That's all while being 20% body fat. I was there. I was that guy like, oh hey look, I can do 300 sit-ups. I'm like, oh, okay. And I think back, it's like, well, I guess it's not like I defined my life by it, but sit-ups that was some low ball stuff. And then, you know, cue the growing up. Then eventually that led to planks, right? Then I did planks, and then planks led me to do push-ups, and then push-ups led me to do dips, and then now I'm doing like lever dips or lever dips, and like L-sit tricep pushes, and other ways to, like, oh, you still have to squeeze and activate your abs, but you're also doing other things, right? And I'm not talking about efficacy at all. I'm talking about fun, sustainability, variety. It's already tough enough to try to do the same thing for the rest of your life. I mean, running is like that. It's tough to keep running variabled while being disciplined. it's shocking it's shocking how many people thought that was sustainable. Imagine telling someone, hey, do you know how you can see your abs? Like an extreme version of today. Do you know how you can see your abs? Leg day for the rest of your life. Every single day. I would step out the door right now. Like, whoa. Whoa. Are you telling me I have to work? No. Nah, that's not happening. That sounds like I'm gonna tear my hair out. Or whatever is left of it after doing like your 100th day of leg day consecutively. You need rest. Mental fatigue is very real too. Not only is your body being accustomed to your things, your mental fatigue is gonna go straight through the roof. Self-esteem, hits a wall, burnout, slaps you in the face every night. Like, there's so much of a mental component that you starve out for such a program. Me, if someone told me Stairmaster. At least you can vary the Stairmaster velocity and like stuff, you know what I mean? Like, you still get variety in Stairmaster. You can change the things. The programs we're talking about are people who do like, okay, you're gonna do 30 crunches today, and then you're gonna do 40 push-ups, and then tomorrow you get to do another 30 crunches and 40 sit-ups. Oh yeah, and then you're gonna go back and add another 30 crunches. Oh, the next day, the following day, you're gonna do 3 sets of 30 crunches and 40 sit-ups. I said, what's the difference between crunches and sit-ups? Good question. I have no idea. the one punch workout. It takes a lot of dedication. I totally get it though. Like, the surprising nature of it is those who are able to have that discipline, that's amazing. They have like all the willpower in the world. Absolutely. But what I was thinking of is how successful they are. That's like, it's how do they make money? Advertisement. Their narrative was very attractive. It was so attractive that if they could have reframed it as a dietary plan, then you start getting into keto and other things. Like how the crash diet worked. It was the promise of quick results that overshadowed how absurdly monotonous, lack of quality of life, and emotionally unintelligent those programs were. It did not take into account any of the variabilities of how sustainable it was mentally for those people. And in my opinion, that is incredibly negligent, because those people are those adults now today that struggle day in and day out, in my opinion, right? A lot of them may very well be the adults today who continue to struggle in and out, thinking that workouts is the bane of their life. Like, it doesn't take much to jump from like one fad to the next fad and fail multiple times to make them give up on having an excellent, happy relationship with physical fitness and enjoying meals while constantly being hammered by the min-max thing. I think this is the same for language learning, in my opinion. Like, we live in a day of intellectual volume. So while someone is like grinding away on their min-max super perfect ratio language learning, I'm not entirely convinced they're having fun. It might be shocking to some people, but I would wager that my relationship with language learning is probably far more rosier than min-maxers for these things. Discipline definitely trumps all when it comes to fitness, in your opinion. It is. I mean, it extends beyond fitness for sure. I feel like you have dabbled enough in fitness over the years to know the root of what's effective, but I do lack discipline. And someone who does a super bad workout split but has really good discipline will mostly like a better result. Agreed. Discipline, due diligence, willpower, it makes it work. Yesterday, Sub-Zero, I think it was yesterday, maybe 2 days ago, someone asked me, what is the most effective tool to learn Japanese? And it was not so dissimilar to basically a cop-out. I would call it a cop-out um, response, but it has to do with due diligence. Due diligence and problem solving, critical problem solving. You are the ultimate tool for skill building. So, largely because they were, and then they asked, no, but what about websites and apps? Whichever website and apps allow you to engage in critical solving, have sustainability, and encourage you for further exploration. So still, discipline, due diligence, and experience. If there's a product out there that can reasonably do it all, then sure, go for it. The last time I checked, that doesn't exist. Otherwise, we would default to it. So for now, unless in that very extreme circumstance where somehow human evolution is unified under very specific principles and a product, hits all of them, for now, it ends up being discipline. Discipline comes with problem solving, critical thinking, and due diligence. Listen to your body. It's shocking how some people say, oh, I hate doing this, without a smile on their face. I think earlier I just told, what was it? What's a pro call that, yeah, every day I wake up, I go to run. It's my routine, right? But I'm going to tell you, every time I run, right at the end, I feel like death. And I kind of just say it with a straight face. It's like, I feel like death. I was explaining the period of runner's high. Like he mentioned runner's high, why I always feel like death, because it's in a specific region, in a specific range. And I was like drawing a curve like this, right? So because of the distance that I was running each day, it's not long enough and it's not spread out enough to reach a period of runner's high. So that was the point, to hit that period, right? I run when death, but not just shy of death taking me. But that's kind of the thing, right? Discipline. It involves discipline quite a bit. All right, let's get back to this. All that started with edamame pasta. What have we come down to? Edamame pasta. Now I want edamame pasta. Where's my pasta? I hadn't had pasta in so long. You have yet to experience runner's high. Miserable experience every time. Oof. Yeah, runner's high, it can come down to a system. I've largely gotten down what my distance is when runner's high happens, but you really got to narrow down your cadence, like your cadence and your like breathing, and then have enough stamina in your legs to reach a long enough distance in which you start, like you space yourself out, right? Say you have to run 6 miles. I don't know what that is in kilometers right now. Okay, let's just say 25k, right? I know it's not 6 miles, but I'm thinking it's not 25k. 25,000? Yeah, let's just say something like a very noticeable distance. And you ask yourself, how do you get across that if you spaced out your entire stamina. And at some point, if you can achieve that, there's gonna be a point in which you kind of just turn off your brain. Like you like, oh, I've done this the last 10 times. Like if you're lapping something, it's like I've already ran 10 laps. What's another one more? What's another one more? And because your breathing is so regular and it only so slowly gets harder and harder, right? So slowly you don't notice it. So at some point it's like, oh, I can just run one more, one more, one more. And that's, in my opinion, the closest thing I can think about for runner's high. And it's to the point where you can't notice when you're going over a critical point in your endurance. So you can run past your critical limit. And when you run past your critical limit, you can risk injury. However, if you're in an event and you're there to win it, you leave it all out there, right? And I usually keep myself from it because I don't have enough trackers. I already mentioned this earlier today. I would do it more often to leverage runner's high for long distance if I had more trackers. Like make sure that I don't fall over and like keel over from dehydration. I don't run hydrating. So when I go on my benchmark runs that are like anywhere between 4 to 5 miles, right? I go out there kind of unnecessarily dehydrated. I get up in the morning, I drink a little bit, right? We're talking about like so 8 kilometers? 8 kilometers. So 8 kilometers, right? And just go for it. Sometimes you can't feel it. And that's kind of scary. I talked about it a little bit. The scary part. You want to monitor yourself. Like, I'm sure you heard before where like people would run to a point where they end up needing medical attention because they just pushed themselves too far. So the moment they stop, they kind of just completely collapse, right? You've seen it in competitive running a lot and whatnot where they push really, really hard, but the moment they stop is when your body starts responding and catching up to how hard you pushed it. It's to the point you see those incredible moments where people's body just like, oh, it's not moving anymore. Like you just can't move anymore. Something just went south completely. And I think that's what runner's high looks like when you're not disciplined, when you have not enough due diligence. But also, when you're going for the win, obviously there's a moment you choose. This is the moment. Let's just go. Definitely saw cases of that in running exams in school. Oof. Were there vomit? Was there vomit? I've seen a couple vomits. There are people pushed so hard that like they start dry heaving after the run. I've done that once. It was I dry heaving. There wasn't anything to throw up. I hadn't eaten yet. I remember you know those like stadiums? You have stadiums like or like tracks, like outdoor tracks, right? And then there are bleachers, like you know those like seat things on the side. And oftentimes people would like run up them and then run back down them and then continue running and then run up them, run down them. I think in college, one of the times like, oh yeah, I do this all the time. And so I thought, why not? And one day after I went up bleachers, like the third time in a row, I'm like, that bouncing got my stomach so bad. Like I was like, so I just sat there. It's like, okay, now I gotta sit down. So it was, you keep hearing the like the gag reflex going up, but I didn't eat anything yet. So it was just more like, ugh. the gag reflex keeps going. I was like, no, 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 I can't do this anymore. So I just like call it a day. Some part of me was kind of bummed. I was thinking like, oh yeah, no, 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 I can run again. I was very tiny back then though. Like I I usually run fasted. I was really tiny. Um uh what is kg? Yeah, I was under 49 kilograms back then. Under 49, shy of 49 kilos. Same height and stuff. Like we're talking about adults. So yeah. It's very runner look. Yeah, 49 kilos in college. Shy of 110 pounds. I don't weigh like that anymore. Now I'm 150. What's 150? 68 kilos. I'm like 68 kilos now. And it's not without trying. I might have had an eating disorder. I don't know. Like a behavioral thing. Not like an actual biological reflex, but I had a problem relationship with eating. Not because food was bad. It's more I don't eat very often. I had a really terrible time eating and finding enjoyment in eating. It's also why I push back really hard when people try to make their life more and more miserable when they're eating stuff, like constantly subtracting instead of trying to moderate, like be more disciplined, trying to encourage constantly disciplining themselves to moderate the things they eat. Because I did not moderate at all. I actually didn't eat at all. I worked really, really hard, so I just stopped eating. And I've met a couple kids like that already. Actually, one of my friends, or my still now friend, I oftentimes am very worried about him because if you ask me when I was in college or a little bit in high school, what is eating? Eating's a maintenance. It's to make yourself less hungry so that you can get more work done. Like there was no joy in eating at all. There's no curiosity, no exploration. You just eat because you have to. So I would typically go like on average 36 to 42 hours without eating most of the time because of work. And I rather sleep than eat. That's kind of my lifestyle back then. Ever since high school, you've been stable at 75. Oh, dang! Are you taller than me? But right now you're at 83, so you're cutting back a bit. Okay, you're taller than me, right? I'm gonna stereotype Norwegians. Norwegians are typically taller than the Chinese descent. I've got all that short genes, you know, the short genes. Um 181? Ah, yeah. That sounds about right. I'm 170. About 170, like around 170. So yeah, that makes up for the weight difference. For sure. Alright. Let me get in one. Oh no, one. Yep. What was this? Oh, we have so many fun topics today. What is this? G. No. B. No, it's G. This is G. Oh, I'm sensing a pattern here. No. How did I get Xiao wrong? Oh, because of this. What was this? Oh, because of how much? I wrote how much instead of how many. And then this is several. Oh, you built it up like you were gonna say 155 or something? No, I wasn't that short. 170 is around your family member's height. I somehow turn out taller being the youngest. Yeah, my mother might be 155 or something. I think my sister is about 155 or something. My father is maybe 160 or something like that. When I was talking about the shortness gene, I was just talking about the average Asian male. Oh, this was airplane ticket. Plane ticket is, I got a little too general about this plane ticket. Big power, energetic. Energetic is often a problem here. Energetic. How long? Got a little too fancy with this one too. Messed up tone, right? This is a tone 1/4 tone swap. Yeah, I turned out taller for my parents. Yeah, for my parents. I also got wonderful allergies that all three of my family does not share. I also have wonderful allergies that are not shared among any of my immediate family members. Isn't that amazing too? I'm pretty proud of that one. Weird flex, I know. Poor respiratory problems? Whew. Sign me up. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Got those sweet poor respiratory genes. It'd be like that. I know, you have to trade it up somehow, right? That proverbial conventional knowledge, you gotta trade it up somehow. Alright. We're good. Let's get into our lessons today.
眼睛
I don't know who passed you the celiac, but they can have it back. But nobody has it, so you don't know who. Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, because it's probably polygenic and recessive. Polygenic and recessive. 眼睛 eye plus eyeball is eye. Who would have thunk it? Eyes. I still would take eyeballs though. Does this take eye? Okay, so I could just start typing eye the whole time. Eye plus eyeball is referring to eyes. Who would have thought? 我的眼睛不太好. Oh yeah, here we go. 我的眼睛不太好. Which fitness watch do you use, by the way? Because I've been considering buying one. I don't have a fitness watch, but and I can't inform on fitness one. I take my old phone. I take my old Pixel, my Pixel 3. I start the timer as I'm running. That's it. I put it in my pocket. I wear joggers, so they're zipped. And if I'm wearing shorts, I wear a belt band. You know, one of those like belt loops, like they're like this, and you like slip it on, and then there's little things you slide into it, and it's just stacked onto your body. And that's it. Just like an old phone, hit the stopwatch, and go. That's it. I chart all my circuits already. Well, I only charted one circuit. So I measured it using like Google Maps and stuff. How long the distance are. Oh yeah. The only time I run with the phone, oh, it's also because this is a Pixel 3, so like a smaller one. But the joggers, you know, we wear joggers. We wear tight joggers, and it's like right slap next to your thigh. But when I'm wearing shorts, obviously don't put a phone in your shorts. It's gonna fly out. It might even make a, you know, a nut tap every once in a while. They're too loose. But yeah, I wear a band to keep everything tight onto me. And other than that, yeah. In terms of fitness watch, you know why I don't have a fitness watch? It's probably a reason that might not come to mind for most people. I always run outdoors, right? Like, I don't skip a day outdoors. There was a time I used to wear a watch for like a little bit, like maybe 6 or so month period, and you get a watch cutout of your hand if you run outdoors. Like, it takes less than a month before you get an outline of a watch on your wrist if you run outdoors. So that's probably why I don't typically wear anything other than the thinness. I mean, like, wait, how visible is this? Oh no, it's not that visible because of the light. But I'm like, past a certain line on my skin, like, you can tell where my shirt is. True, but I mean, it goes away though. But listen, we're not talking about if it's gonna conveniently go away when you suddenly like walk around and it's like, oh hey, you must wear a smartwatch. It's right there. And you get like massive differences. So it's up to you, obviously. You could always wear your fitness watch if you want. It's already tough enough negotiating the shoulders. My shoulder is like 10 shades lighter than my forearms. But now just imagine you get a print when wearing your regular watch. Oh, okay. Yeah, but now think about it, Sub-Zero. Now go and run outside every day for maybe a month or two. I promise. Plenty of wonderful shade. Oh no, not really. I can't make that promise because there's a chance your skin profile, right? Your keratin is different than mine. If I stay indoors for 3 months, then the shade would go away. Wait, are you talking about indentation or tan? I'm talking about tan differences. Oh, are you talking about the indentation? Oh, I'm talking about tan differences. Like, there is going to be a white line, a band where your arm is when you're running outside in like a month's period if you're always running during the sunlight. Oh, you thought I meant because of tight or something. Oh, no, no. I was talking about tan lines. Boy, howdy. Those tan lines. No sun here, no problem. So I can't. Okay, fair enough. I think Apple still makes the stuff. I don't know. Do Apple sell Apple Watches where you are? I think Apple still has your go-to stuff. I think any fitness tracker is fairly okay. If you want to get super sweaty, right? It's probably a chest monitor, but that's uncomfortable. But you know, you buy a chest monitor, and that still means you have to collect. You still have to keep a device to record it, because the chest monitors report to another device. So it could be like a small phone or your watch. But generally speaking, if you're like really rigorous, it's probably a chest monitor while you're doing physical activity. Yeah, everything else is fine, I think. Good enough to inform. I kind of you just need a bare bones and not all the smart features of an Apple. Yeah, that's fair. There is this like what is it called? Hang on. There's this thing that's kind of trendy. I'm not sure if you're into this, but they are smartwatches, but they're kind of different. I don't know how well they turned out. Pebble? There's a little interesting product called Pebble that's coming out. I don't know if it flopped or not. They're kind of like the Zune. Pebble watches remind me of the Zune of yesterday. Microsoft Zune of yesterday. 我的眼睛好 itchy.
我的眼睛好痒。
好痒. Alright.
眼睛排队
Listen, who needs a fitness tracker when you have this? I'm kidding. I certainly don't count while I'm running. You think we get one of the Huawei's? I didn't even know Huawei's made smartwatches. I'm very out of the loop on wearable tech. You could get a ring. That's a thing too. Maybe you can buy your girlfriend one too. Wink wink. You can buy a ring. I forgot what they're called. Even more minimalistic and low in feature. Oh yeah, like Aura Ring. Yeah, I think that's the one. There's also I'm pretty sure Samsung makes one too. The Galaxy Ring. Yeah. The last thing I heard was Samsung's rings. It is less intrusive, right? It's even less intrusive. And if you're looking for like bare bones features, I guess you're technically paying. Oh no, but they can charge a premium for its design. I'm pretty sure rings are cheaper than watches on average. So you can use a ring to report it back and stuff. Oh, you wouldn't be able to use it while weightlifting. That is fair point. Wait, you wear watches while you're weightlifting? Huh. Although, I guess you would more likely be able to lift weights with a watch than with a ring. I do calisthenics, so No jewelry, no accessories, because the last thing I want is, ooh, all I can imagine is a watch like grabbing onto something. Ooh, that sounds delightfully horrid. You can have like the watch like run up your wrist, or run down your wrist. 排队. You do your cardio in the gym, you do weightlifting in because of the weather, so you would most likely wear the watch when you're already there. Okay. I think the neat thing about wearable tech is it creates an incentive to get your return on investment in buying the tech in the first place. You know, like the whole buyer's, I forgot what it's called, but the buyer's value. So I enjoy, if you could make that a sustainable thing, why not? This sounds very wasteful and it's not eco-friendly and whatnot, but I could imagine a cycle where you make disposable gear, maybe like green gear, like something that's recyclable, where you would upgrade it every year, right? With like some new thing, but it's modular. It's not modular, so it's like prescriptory, so that you have to update it, right? So everyone would say, instead of buying like a $500 smartwatch, you would buy 10 $50 watches that serve the primary function of that $50 subscription. So you have a 50, oh no, this, I'm gonna get so much heat for this, but imagine buying a $50 subscription for 10 years, right? And in that subscription, the $50 is your investment towards a tech that you're trying to get your money's worth by getting into the gym. But then you're saying, how's that any different from getting a gym membership? It's like, it's not really. The idea is trying to create more and more incentive to get someone to like commit themselves harder to trying to make use of it. And if it leads to a habit that can contribute to sustainability, then it's great. That's kind of like what that's kind of trying to defend Duolingo and stuff like that. But obviously it goes back to discipline. But it is a interesting thought to think about. If you're gonna buy a watch that will give you all the things that will incentivize you to get back into the gym, right? Don't buy a watch, in my opinion. This sounds like it's like a well-duh situation, but I can't tell you how often people buy products on a promise of a feature that they don't even use, right? How often do you hear that? PC parts. So oftentimes like, oh yeah, I'm gonna buy this gym membership, but the gym membership is not attached to something that's constantly reminding you need to be in the gym. If you have a watch that has a feature that you use all the time, and it's there and it's constantly reminding you, it's far more effective psychologically than a gym membership, because a gym membership disappears the moment you leave the gym. So sure, you can remind yourself, oh yeah, I need to go to the gym, but then you're like, what else is it useful for? But then when you have smartwatches like fitness trackers, that's amazing. I actually do really like what Fitbit, personally, the last viral thing that made that thing a thing was Fitbit. I really genuinely loved how technology took off from Fitbits. So yeah, definitely. If you have the money to splurge, it wouldn't be the end of the world if you bought a nice smartwatch, largely to convince yourself to try to play a psychological trick on yourself to try to get in the gym. It's like, you know what? If I bought a $500 smartwatch, well, what is that? one gym visit is like $5 in the bank. So if I go to the gym 100 times, I'll make up the practical, sentimental cost of spending $500 on a smartwatch. I think that's a very powerful tool to get a habit going. Usually I would use people. Okay, I know how that sounded. We're not talking about like abusing people, but oftentimes the strongest element is to have someone you care about also accompanying you to the gym. So then that is one of the highest obligations and emotional obligations you can have, as opposed to like having a smartwatch, something like that. I would even argue that the impreciseness that is introduced by having someone else far exceeds whatever you're going to gain most of the time with a device that you're tracking all of these things. But not everyone has a friend, right, that would want to do that, let alone have yourself willing to do that in the first place. So that's a luxury. Hey, you mean that wireless mouse you bought earlier was the best investment you made in ages? I'm glad to hear that. Definitely do not cheap out. Like, we talked about this a couple times. Rarely cheaping out on things that you would use every single day. Like, and trying to get your fitness to be like that. It's a challenge. It's a challenge. My running is obligatory now. Like, it is so difficult for me to start my day without running. So there it is. How hard is it? Well, I ran in sub-zero temperatures during lightning storm. This is not recommended. During thunderstorm warnings. And I also ran hopping up and down in like leg high snow. How much you charging for that habit? You need to be doing that too. Like, there's nothing that stops me from it. Like, if it's a thunderstorm outside, I'm out there. Actually, my parents already. This is how long it's been. My parents don't even ask anymore. Earlier on, they're like, "Oh, tomorrow is gonna rain, so are you gonna run?" I'm like, "Yes." And now it's like, it's things are blowing over and things are falling down and it's like flooding, and I'm like, "Yep, I'm out." Lace up and just go out there. I think there was a time where I was wearing my hat, and the whole time I was running, I was like this. I was running like this because the wind was too high. The wind was too much. It gets above 100 here. So what's 100? It gets above like 39 degrees here. Maybe sometimes occasionally it would hit like 40, 41. It's like, yeah. I don't know if you feel this way yourself, but I gotta admit, you're one of the most dedicated people you know. Really? Are you sure? There's gotta be more. What about your parents? It's flattering. Well, I appreciate it. With running and language learning every day, the consistency is crazy. There's gotta be people you know that are consistent. What about jobs? Think about how consistent you are with school. You're already doing it. At least I think that's consistent. You go to class every day, or you go to class when you have to go to class. Now, in my okay, I'm being a little bit reductive, but in my opinion, if you can take something you have to do and apply it to something you choose to do, it makes things that you have to be consistent in feel so much more approachable. Right? I choose to do this, and I can consistently do this. So, almost all of that is juggling things that I have to do. So, go back 7 or 8 years, I had to do a lot of things. And it took a lot of discipline and whatnot to be able to juggle all those things I have to do. But now I get to choose to do whatever. It's like night and day. Like there's no competition to having to do something. Like no competition to having to juggle 5 to 6 classes and I don't know, a side project, a research project every single day versus choosing to do something and staying consistent in conversation and creating stories, creative work. Um, I, I, this is taking something that might not be hard, might be difficult to empathize with, but if your head, like your mind, is always on overdrive, when you finally get to choose something and dedicate that excess energy from the high functioning part to something, it liberates so much of it liberates a lot of stress that maybe not a lot of people, maybe not I just read not a lot of people might see it as a positive thing. I think someone asked me this by coincidence. Someone asked me this 2 days ago. They asked me like it had something to do with, oh, I think it might be something Turtle said. About, yeah, this must take a lot of work, like really appreciate the grind, like it takes a lot of dedication. And my thoughts are consistent. And Procall has a little bit of this, but um having a ideal situation in which you can channel most of your energy that otherwise is very difficult to control, which you may or may not have that. I think a lot of normal, very neurotypical people will be less manic than I would say I'm slightly more manic than the average. I don't think I'm like off the deep end manic, but being able to channel these things makes it feel like you get to do a lot, but it's very little. Like it's not taxing. This is the most relaxing part of my day. Conversing with you, obviously I'm not trivializing this. Like I think lots of streamers eventually get asked this when they're very successful. It's like, what does this career hold, or like their career hold compared to juggling obligations, right? Things like the dynamics of having a career in a professional field or something. It's no contest for me as well. Not that I'm juggling crazy things for content creation and whatnot, but it holds. So you're doing a lot already, and I miss that actually. I kind of miss going to class and juggling 6 things and whatnot. I don't think it's any more extraordinary than someone going to university, trying to maintain a healthy relationship with a significant other. You have to keep in mind that I don't have a significant other, right? There are lots of things that when you think about it, in my opinion, when you think about it and you reorganize that energy that you have, you're expending a lot of energy. Now the question is, how are you going to channel that energy? Because I am really, really going to say, like, it's hard to convince me otherwise. Most people have this amount of energy. The it comes back down to, have you experienced enough and have the discipline to redistribute that energy to do those things? I think if we had a competition on who stays active, like alert mentally, we probably score the same, very similar, right? I mean, you would have to get 10 years older magically, and then we would I don't think my sustainable attention and consistency is any more remarkable than a student who is juggling university classes and even juggling other things like emotional intelligent things at the same time. At least in my opinion. Jobs in school does not count in the same way because you're technically obligated in a way. With what you're saying, you gotta break down that mental barrier of, oh nah, I don't feel like it today. Yeah, yeah. But the thing is, you have to constantly break down that barrier. So it's taking more energy, right? So yes, consistency is crazy, but I also don't need to expend a lot of energy getting past that mental barrier. With that said, Sub-Zero, it would be very, very unfair if I didn't tell you I absolutely loved my job and career. so so that that's besides the point, right? So I wish I could continue doing that career and doing this and all of that. I really do. But I think my body would give out before any of this would happen. I really liked going to school and juggling a job. I like being useful. I don't even think I liked my job and career because I was doing things to be cool or good at it. I like being useful. That's probably the thing I miss most about all of it. I like making other people's ideas come true. I'm not sure I was ever more of an ideal person myself, but I absolutely love being part of someone else's bigger plan. And if there's anything I can say to make someone realize their potential, that is it. Like there's nothing that gives me more joy than seeing people succeed. Yeah, at its core, I agree that the workload may be the same, but it just requires a stronger willpower to dedicate time to learning and fitness when you're not boxed in by applications towards it. You can admit that you did not do much when you took a gap year after high school. All right, fair enough. Fair enough. What did I do in my gap year? I took a gap year between college and graduate school. Oh yeah, I did 2 years of research. Those were probably even more overdrive than before. I think I stayed in the lab for an average of 13 hours a day. And then there was like a 2.5 hour bus ride commute between where I lived, like, and my place of work. So I read books during that. That's when I finally got back to reading books. So I read entire books on the way there, on the way back. You just have so many things you can do. There's so little things you can do. Right now, I do Duolingo while walking. So whenever I have to get to stretch and have to walk around, I walk around while doing Duolingo. Habits. On the contrary, did you enjoy the first period of time right after you left the workforce? Was it refreshing or have you missed it from the start? After I left, I missed it from the start. I wish it was different. Like there's some wishful thinking. I wish I didn't have to make money. Or like I wish I didn't have to focus on making money and like competing and taking money and like like this is going to be, it's not like I'm not forced to do so, but I don't like competing. I really don't. I really dislike it. Um in the career that I was going to, it's incredibly competitive, not for a reason that everyone is doing their best and there's equal opportunity. It's incredibly competitive because resources are very limited. That's what I don't like about it. And if I don't have to, then I won't. Again, the whole obligation thing. But this is more of a... This has happened a couple of times. Say you and your colleague are presented with a great opportunity and a not so great opportunity. Which one would you pick, right? It's happened multiple times in my life. I would initiate by picking the less great opportunity by asserting that I can make it into an opportunity that's worth having, as opposed to going and taking the greater opportunity largely because I'm in competition with someone. When that phrase, that nice guys finish last, oh, I own that phrase. I absolutely owned that phrase when I was professional. Nice guys always finish last. But it's not a bad thing or a good thing. It's a choice. Like, when people talk about, in my opinion, when people talk about nice guys finish last, they're talking about people who want to finish first. From the perspective of someone who wants to finish first, but still be nice. I was the guy who finished last, and it was because it was my choice. It makes me feel better knowing that I can make something work that was less desirable than something that is more desirable and will work by default. So many choices I've made across my life was the lesser of two, pragmatically speaking. So I can accept that they were the lesser of two. But the challenge I wanted was that I don't have to compete with anyone. I take that Charlie Brown Christmas and I make it the centerpiece. Yeah. Charlie Brown Christmas tree. Yeah, I'm that guy. And it sucks. And it doesn't work. It doesn't work in a competitive world. It doesn't work for content creation. It doesn't work for clout chasing. It doesn't work for making money. It's horrendous. It's horrendous for being competitive because I'm non-competitive. I tend to focus on most characteristics that are non-competitive. What do I, some of the things I focus on are all individual based. As in, if you say you feel bad about yourself, my solution is stop comparing yourself to other people. Right? Or I try very hard to find ways. The psychological stuff that is not in excess is me. The stuff that is in excess is the world we live in right now. Hyper competitiveness, hyper objectivity, those are the worlds we live in now. So by sheer coincidence, every once in a while, someone finds me refreshing until they can become competitive again. That's it. So you don't need to be dependent on someone who is not competitive. You just need to get out of your ruts or chill with someone who's not competitive, non-competitive, long enough to be competitive again. And then you don't see them again until maybe they enter another episode. So what does that look like in a young person? I'm relatively young, reaching this stage. Usually people in their 60s plus would probably have this kind of mentality. I was a lot earlier, I suppose. I've always been a pushover. not pushover in the sense that I would lose in the end. Oh, I'll still win. But I wouldn't be competing with the person. I'd be competing in my own arena. Right? Like, that person doesn't know what it's like to make that project work because they didn't want that project in the first place. Right? No one wants to know how to make Duolingo work if they don't have to. So that kind of pretty much explains a lot of the things I'm aware of. I tend to choose my life to pick up things that it might seem like a hipster thing, but hipsters still trend to here and there. It's more like, it's kind of fun to do. Life would be less interesting if it's constantly paved for me. Maybe one day that'll be a celebration. In a really weird parallel universe, I could have seen myself being an artist, but I was raised a doctor because my parents believed in pragmatism. So when I'm living under my parents' household, I was an incredibly pragmatic, objective person. And that objective person drove me to great heights until I discovered individuality. And that's maybe a consequence of growing up in the United States or something. But now I sound like this sappy butterfly painting, like positive go-getter. I was nowhere near this before. I was a cutthroat person when I was a kid. Like, if you suck, you suck. Like, I think I shared that one story once. I'm not sure if I shared it with you. I still remember this to this day. It's so hard for me to forget things. And you might be thinking, why would you want to forget things? That's kind of how the body tries to prevent resurfacing or re-experiencing certain experiences. But I still remember the day I made my I think it was history. I made my history teacher cry inadvertently, and I didn't understand why until much later. So in those classes, I'm usually the top performer, right? So she was handing back a quiz, right? And I got a point off somewhere, and I disagreed with her. And at the end, when she was passing out the grades, I had the highest grade in class, right? But then she said, "Does anyone have a question?" And I raised my hand. And without even thinking or processing any form of emotional intelligence, I literally said these words, and I still remember them to this day. Like, "Yes, I have a question. Can the next test not have vague questions like these?" And she like paused for a moment. Then she walked around from the front of the class. She sat in the class. Usually the teacher's desk is behind us. And she cried. And everyone looked at me and I was like, I don't get it. I'm just telling the truth. That is the internet Gen Z and the internet Gen Alpha right now. You don't feel anything. You don't have enough emotional intelligence to even realize that whatever you say is true doesn't mean it doesn't completely lack emotional intelligence. Because the next thing that she said from her mouth is, "You don't know how hard I work on these questions." Yeah. And that still keeps it, you might be thinking, "Oh, but you were just a kid," right? It's like, well, sort of. I always said I was born 65. You know, I don't give like, I don't care about kid trivialities when I was a kid. I'm younger than I was when I was a kid. I behaved like a 60-year-old. Like, when I'm right, I'm right. Gosh darn it, right? Kind of thing. It was in ninth grade. I'm pretty sure it was ninth grade. It was either ninth grade or 10th grade. Yeah, that's how vicious objectivity gets. And when I think about it, I still remember the question. And yeah, it wasn't specific enough. But it was delivered so harshly. Like, think about it from the perspective of the teacher. Your student, who typically scores 100s across the board, lost the point, and they made a comment that literally told you that they don't appreciate you as a teacher. Your top student told you they don't appreciate your examinations. I mean, I'm a little bit softer and sappier now, And I would say, yeah, for real, like that that is absolutely uncalled for. So yeah, I still hold that memory today. It went on for that for like a 5 minutes. Like the class was just paused for 5 minutes. And I still remember that day. I still don't understand what I like at the moment. I can still remember. I don't get it. I mean, I'm only telling, I'm only being quote unquote constructive or like being real. Like I could explain why these questions are vague, right? But I did not have the emotional intelligence to understand why these questions were flexible like that, because I am not my classmates as well. So that is why one of the underlying memories of why I do not encourage people being incredibly pedantic online. It makes them incredibly emotionally unintelligent. People are very emotionally deficient because they focus so much on being right, factual, and taking in a lot of knowledge, but do not create intimate connections with anyone because there's no incentive for flexibility, utility, or understanding. Right? And that's probably the strongest example I have of times when I was incredibly emotionally unintelligent. Like I was so underdeveloped when it came to, I was so stunted in emotional development when I was a kid, because you might be thinking, well, you could have done better. It's like, no, because discrimination, racism causes one to retreat emotionally. So how do you combat and tolerate discrimination and racism and bullying? You eliminate emotional baggage and you attack. So acts keep the world going. Emotions make you weak. So over time, when that discrimination and racism went away, right? I went to college, I met people who changed my life, I became arguably far more softer as a person than I've ever been. So now the irony here is, fast forward to my 30 years of age and streaming and stuff, everyone calls me a softie, right? Like, oh, you're just soft and you always sound agreeable. Like, why do you always sound so politically agreeable? Like, are you afraid to offend people? The answer is no. I'm not afraid to offend people. In fact, it is very difficult for you to offend me. The point I'm trying to make is, I don't think the internet has to be that type of place, right? Why does the internet have to be a place where thick-skinned people posture each other about how ignorant they are because they didn't read the fine text of a knowledge website that you particularly find better than the other person? And that comes back full circle to like language learning. Yeah, it's an interesting thing. I've been working on this story about, I think, if I remember correctly, I think her name is Miss Spencer. And I don't think I ever got the opportunity to apologize to her. Pretty sure her name was Miss Spencer. I'm not sure if she got married or not. But yeah. It was another wild one. I have so many wild stories that I still remember in in uh in middle school and high school. I took advantage of people too. Like what I mean is I leveraged a lot. When you're pragmatically advantageous, you leverage a lot. So it's not wrong, quote unquote. You probably heard this before. No rule says you can't. So therefore, there's a chance you can do it. Until someone says you can't, you can most definitely leverage things to your advantage. So even though I was emotionally stunted, right? Like I didn't really catch on to things. I can appear sympathetic and I can be the point of sympathy by acting the way to get sympathy. So all the things I talk about like self-pity, affirmation, the requirement for affirmation, the constant subterfuge that people do to make themselves like appear important to some random stranger online, like pretending to be multiple people or running multiple accounts, that type of thing. I understand the disjointed emotional motivation behind those type of techniques, and I don't do them anymore because you don't have to when you're surrounded by people who care and loving, right? It's a shame that I wasn't much of that when, I mean, I don't think it's regretful or anything. It could have been different. Obviously, it could have been different. Yeah, whatever gets the best in suit evil world we live in. What the heck? You're imagining a person starting a run near the finish line, whereas another one who started far behind. First guy wins, even though the other guy technically ran further. Yep. But did she at least fix the score though? You didn't need it. Everything round up to 100. So you only needed a 95%. To get an A. So I started doing that. But yes, I got when kids tell me these days, and they still do, they were super upset with themselves that they missed a point because they should have gotten 100. Like, oh, I lost 3 points. I should have gotten 100 because I know the correct answer now. My first question to them is, why does it make you feel awful, even though you know the right answer now? Is it going to change the perspective of your life? It may actually change the course of your life, actually. But the course of your life is depending on how you manage what happened. Why does it make you feel so awful, even though you know the right answer? Did you know the right answer at the time? Because clearly that's probably what happened. You didn't, but now you do. So how do you process that and manage that? It's definitely up to you, right? It's within your control. Being angry at something that was working as intended is a whole different story. And for me, that comment that I made to my, I think, 9th grade history teacher is that you complain about the system by evaluating its deficiencies and associate it and attack the person indirectly and passing it off as a fact check, right? Oh, it doesn't matter. I can't be a jerk if I'm true, if I'm correct, right? I'm only being kind because I'm right. That type of stuff is what objectivity does, in my opinion, to emotional intelligence. And I see myself, not that it's a desirable thing or something. I see myself a lot of times in so many comments. I definitely know what it's like to shatter someone's trust without intending to do so. And since that moment, since many moments in my early childhood, when I went to college, I told myself that I would abandon most of those things. Not abandon in the sense of I forget what it is. I would channel those things and try to use all of those things to level up my game. And I did it for the most part. Starting by the first meet and greet that I did, we went in a circle and we introduced each other, right? It was like your meet and greet. And it was the first time I ever initiated an introduction for myself. And my first introduction is, I don't know if you guys noticed, but I happen to be Asian. Because I looked around and I'm the only Asian person, right? And the rest is history, right? I started talking about anime, started talking about other things that make me incredibly identifiable, things that made me less of a cruel, unfilling, min-maxing pragmatic person. And also it took another like 4 or 5 years to learn how to talk. Like talk without sounding like a robot who has no emotional feelings or enthusiasm. Right. And here we are today. It didn't take my entire life, but it did take all the experiences in order to figure out what is the worst thing you could possibly do with words versus what are things you can do with words that aren't possibly damaging. I think I could make a baby cry by telling them how like how insignificant they are even in 60 years when I was a kid. Like cue like a probably like a diatribe on existential crises at 6 years old or something. Like or something like, oh hey, there's a 1% acceptance rate. It's a shame that 99 of my classmates aren't going to make it when I get in. I don't really literally say these things, but how I act and how I do things is in the mindset that I'm not the one that's going to fail. It's everyone else that's going to fail. Right? That's the competitive spirit that is completely lost. Like I don't have that competitive spirit anymore. Like it's the bane of my existence when it comes to competing with people online on things. I really don't like that. I mean, maybe it might be a dislike of myself, but not really. Would you say you've changed a lot? I can perfectly imagine the type of person you're describing, or you're describing your older self in history class, and I personally tend to avoid being around those people. But in different words, the fact that I've been watching you for a while proves that you're not like that anymore, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to find myself here. It's when you're what I'm talking about. Have I changed? I think my circumstances changed quite a bit, right? So that part of me is still possible when it's appropriate. So I don't think I've changed in the sense that I can't be that person anymore. I don't usually forget, right? It's maybe it's a luxury. I feel like it's a blessing in disguise when you're able to forget things or like choose to forget things. I don't forget that part of my life. So yes, if I enter a job, like a position where I must be a cutthroat, I will, for lack of a better word, be a shark. Like I can be a shark if I need to be. But the lucky situation is that my life context doesn't force that anymore. I would be a shark if it means saving someone's life. Right? So you can obligate me to be that really vicious person. I don't think I'm unable to be that person. So in the scope of things, there is a philosophical argument that often plays out between people who believe if people can fundamentally change or not change, right? That's like zeros and ones. I believe it's a marry of both of them, right? A marry of both of them. So you are more than one or the other. You are both. The ability to be incredibly healthy and comfortable in your own skin is in order to command all those pieces of yourself. Spending most of your time trying to reject parts of yourself without trying to like use it pragmatically or having a healthy relationship, it's very exhausting. It uses a lot of extra energy. So for myself, I chosen not to do that. I leverage the things I need to do. So more experiences equal more tools in my belt. So I would say I've changed because my environment changed. If the environment changed back, I might end up leveraging things that I used to do to fit the environment. So wearing masks, probably. when at least I think you catch yourself doing it and be more self-aware versus before, which is perfectly, yeah. So because the person I am today did not exist, right? The skills that I have now does not exist before. So this is what it's like to have a person who is, I'm gonna give myself a reasonable emotional intelligence. It still happens, by the way. It still happens. I've slipped up a couple of times already when I was talking to Gecko and like other people, like Hideyoshi and Sharon. I've slipped up a couple of times, and it is very vicious, and not vicious in the sense of I'm gonna attack you. Like that's the whole point. It's more like dismissive, and I mentioned that every once in a while. I can be dismissive because it is very difficult to portray how much when someone tells me something, and it takes a lot of discipline to prevent myself or like to regulate myself in order to be agreeable in a way that wouldn't simply sound like every other person who's telling you things on the internet. Like what is a reductive phrase that most people say? Oh, you think that's hard? Wait till you get to my level and it's hard. Like that type of thing is what creates that emotional intelligence that I really it personally dislike incredibly. It's unfilling, it's leveraging, right? It's leveraging, and it's selfish. So like, oh, I have problems too. You think you have problems, I have problems too, right? And that's what it was like as a kid because the circumstances were different. I had a lot of problems. I had a lot of problems to deal with, and it did not allow someone like me today to exist. Like, you cannot exist being soft, nice, choosing the higher road, sort of. Choosing the higher road. You choose the sharpest road, the shortest road, and the one that gives you the most leverage. So if someone tries to attack me for my integrity, I attack them back. That's how it works, right? We play by the game. Nowadays, if you keep asking me like, oh, what is the best this? What is the best that? I will give you a curveball most of the time. I would break the system, right? I would subvert the system and turn and take agency of the question, and I would bend the rules so that the rules no longer conform to the competition. Someone asked me, what's my favorite game? Oh, well, my favorite game at the time is often due to recency because I have the most emotional attachment to the video game. So it's the most recent game I'm playing. So today, I would say it's Pirate Yakuza. But it broke the mold, as in it becomes a non-competitive process. The most recent thing is the most recent thing. There's no longer a competition in the sense of what is the best game. Like, I don't have to reach back and make it into a competition. And then when someone asks me, what is the most effective tool to learning Japanese? Yourself. You break the competition. So everyone has a self, regardless of how different they are. So if you're the most efficacious tool, which I can leverage because I understand how I work and a lot of how people usually work, then you remove the competition. So every time someone is asking deliberately to pit comparisons to each other, I offer a choice C if I have to, or even a D, right? All of the above. C, all of the above. And that probably describes like 90% of how I choose to do things. I'm not sure if I'll ever repeat all of this again. I probably do. I have already repeated this about like 3 or 4 times, but usually it's every once in a blue moon, right? Usually once in a blue moon, someone who wants to hear some life stories from someone who's really not that old. I am really not that old. However, I would say across my lifetime, if I didn't have a face and my cam wasn't here and maybe my voice sounded a little bit more rusty, I think overall a lot of people would say that I sound a lot older than I actually am. Largely because life was very different for me. I think I was already 20 and out the door before I even walked into my first grade class. And now I'm doing things that I think I could have done when I was a teenager. Play video games, you know? Always cool when you give us those stories that take us back to the 60s. I know, right? Yeah. Now I just sound like some... the nice... How poetic this is now I sound like a 30-year-old. I think I sound more like a 30-year-old than I was when I was a kid. Like, dude, life sucks. Suck it up. Like, do your math homework. What's wrong with you? Like, it's so easy. Just do your math homework. Here, I'll show you. This is how you do it. Get it done. Right? Like, if you do your math homework now, it takes 10 minutes. Do the 10 minutes, and then you have like 2 hours and 50 minutes to do something else instead of listening to your mother complain for 30 minutes. Terrifying. That's a thought that comes across all the time, and hear me out. A disclaimer: I still have those thoughts today. Like, they don't go away. I'm not saying like the change made all these thoughts go away. So when people say, oh, do you feel guilty about thoughts, right? Like, for example, racism. Partial thoughts is racist, but you can have thoughts that doesn't marry your actions with your words and other things, like feeling guilt for past action, maybe your history or family history. Prokov was talking about this earlier, about family history association. You can know these things exist, but they don't have to like take control or eat away at your agency over your choices. So even if I would say, oh wow, the fastest way would be to like suck it up and just do the work and learn to love it, that's not going to pragmatically get to the goal. If you can't see what's in front of you because of your own principles, then focus on yourself and make yourself better. But in my opinion, respectfully, stop offering advice to other people. If the task is to offer advice to other people, show me evidence that you are compassionate first. If you're not compassionate already and have a long list of lines of showing compassion in your career, then I am less and less likely to trust your advice, even if you're giving it to me. So that's kind of one of those things, like, that sounds cold and cutthroat, right? I don't do that. At least I try not to. I know it's an option though, right? If the person's like, oh yeah, lay it to me straight, like, tell me straight up, like, can I be this? Can I work in this career? And sometimes if I know the person well enough, I'll give it to them straight. But straight doesn't mean it's the only genuine way of caring about someone. There are ways to convey and consolidate ideas without being a cutthroat. My younger self would disagree. My younger self would most definitely say there's only one way. The truth, as fast as possible. The sooner they learn the harshest truth, the reality, the better off they will be. And my current self would say, if you crush someone's soul, there won't be a later. You can crush a child's ambitions before he even has a chance to realize any errors. You can crush people's spirits, and it wouldn't, you have the ability to crush people's spirits before they even start, and even rebound for that matter. Like, a failure is not the end, but in a cutthroat world, if you fail, it's over. One shot, make it count. You don't get second chances. Like, you failed? Oh, let's move on to the next person. That type of cutthroat stuff is insane to me now. It's so foreign to me, and yet it still exists somewhere. 10-minute math homework. You used to be up at night crying with your dad in the background trying to describe the solution to me over and over again. Yeah, I was so unfilling. Like, I didn't even do homework at home. I think I said this multiple times. All the way up to high school, I did the vast majority of my stuff at school. On the bus. I rarely ever did homework at home. Or projects, for that matter. So it basically voided me of being able to understand what it's like to work hard. I didn't work hard. That's like a joke. Like, if I told myself that I was a hard worker in high school, that's absurd. I didn't learn what hard work is until much later, when I finally got challenged, right? You start working hard when you finally meet your first obstacle in life. So if you're smooth sailing and say you're always doing the best thing and you're always doing the right thing and everything always works out to you, you don't understand, in my opinion, what hard work is. Like, honestly, the hardest thing is your first difficulty in life. And I like to hope that it isn't the first hard thing you encounter isn't something that will devastate you and absolutely derail your life. And honestly, having children that have obstacles to overcome early in life, that's great, in my opinion, because there's time. And it might not be as crazy or as serious. Like, for example, learning how to budget, depression. Honestly, in my opinion, depression looks bad in all, like, depression is just bad in general. But if you have an adult with chronic depression, it might already be, I don't want to say it's too late, but it is so, the longer that goes, the harder it's going to be. So when you see early signs in kids, allow them to explore like what they hate, what they don't like, what they do like and stuff. It's a wealth of experience for early kids. Opportunities, of course, that's why it's tough to talk about kids without opportunities, right? Family without opportunities. That stunts a kid's growth, right? You were a logical Boolean kid, huh? Everything had to be zeros or ones. Yep, true and false. Zeros and ones, rights and wrongs. If I'm right, I am not accountable for anything that truth does to anyone else. Like, if I go up to someone and says, this kid got a C in that class, it's like, wow, that's a bad grade. You scored below average. You might want to consider, like, taking a lower class level. Maybe go to a community college instead. That is probably what a Boolean kid would be, right? What does that look like now? Oh, hey, bruh, did you know that you're learning Japanese incorrect? The way you're learning now, you'll never learn Japanese. Boolean kid. Logical Boolean kid. No form of problem solving, no form of critical thinking, no emotional intelligence. All it's doing is I'm right, which they could be, and they expect that the person they're talking to is a Boolean kid as well. So if you have Boolean kids talking to Boolean kids, then yes, that would work. It's a shame I'm not a Boolean kid anymore. So if I know something doesn't work, I will change it. If I know I'm not learning something, I will find other ways to learn. The idea that the thing I'm currently doing somehow stays the same by bullying my way in a system, right? In a logical system, just turn my way and always do the same thing. That is the logic of a Boolean kid. They only operate in the systems that they're familiar with. They're not operating in talking to someone who can problem solve or critical think. Like, if the Boolean doesn't check out, change the programming. Modify the logical circuits. You're a human. You can violate and change systems. So you solve problems, right? Tweak the system. But that's not an option for people who only operate on knowledge base or have become so normalized to knowledge base. Is it unfathomable for someone to come up with new ideas while doing the same thing you have done? Well, one of the questions are you and this person different enough in problem solving skills? It is very logical if you assume that everyone is the same. They all have the same capacity for critical solving and problem solving, right? Critical thinking and problem solving. It's probably even statistically very accurate. But I'm not a kid. So, logically speaking, the first conditional that you need for your Boolean are your parameters. Did you even ask what my parameters are? Like, what did I do? Probably one of the first questions is, what did I do before learning language? You don't ask that anymore. You use whatever knowledge you have, right? To this day, I still have someone referring to me based on the idea that I speak English. Like, okay, I mean, that's fine. That's probably all you ever see. Good news. You don't have to see how unfeeling and vicious I was if I was 18 years old and trying to become a streamer, right? Probably be like, yeah, dude, let's go and use the best thing according to statistics. In your domain, this is like having a digital brain versus an analog brain. You develop an analog brain. Yeah. And mind you, I actually think there's a world that this can work. The whole digital brain thing, right? Or the Boolean kid. My question is more concerning, are they happy? Do they get the results that they're looking for, right? If you're behaving a certain way and you're constantly upset, if you're constantly upset with the results, do you know why? And how it's happening? Because a lifetime of repeating the same mistakes due to some weird cognitive dissonance is incredibly disheartening. I genuinely feel very upset, but it's not my place. Other people, like other intellectuals that I've met over my life, they get mad and they either divorce themselves from it, take up the flag and stand a moral high ground and introduce a bunch of prescribed systems to alleviate that, but they're more proactive than I am. So for me, I don't interlope most of the time. So I'm not going around saying, guys, hot take. The first thing you need to do is find a problem, go and solve it. It will change your life. You're welcome, right? I'm not going to do that because I would have to detail the whole thing, find a categorization of that person, develop a case study, have like somehow blind the study somehow and do all these things. So in my apprehension, I'm complicit. I'm not like complaining about the nature of human interaction, largely because I'm not doing anything about it either. Like I'm not complicit about it. The best thing I can do is share some of my experiences, and maybe that will encourage other people to be far more assertive than me. I think I'm too old to be assertive, but I'm always thinking in the back of my head that there's a 40-year-old or 50-year-old out there saying, dude, wait till you get to 40 and 50 before you can say that. Go out there and like I can hear my older self telling my younger self, like, you could have made a difference or you could have done something. You could have been more assertive, right? It is a possibility. And I've encountered far more immovable walls than I have, than I am when it comes to being complicit or interloping on other people's things. Yeah. Okay. I'm not even sure if I'm gonna finish today's. I think I've pushed the limit of the ranting today. Digital brain people. Sub-Zero, have you encountered talks about vibe coding? Now that you've done quite a lot of coding, what did you already encounter vibe coding? I've been hitting up this like keyword that people have been talking about. Yeah, because of the assistance of AI, right? Of AI, there's this new buzzword going on called vibe coding. Okay, I'll let you. I'll leave you to exploring that. It's like a new controversial topic, and you kind of you'll probably get it immediately. It doesn't take too long to imagine the concept. Yeah. Okay. I promise I will be able to complete this lesson in this today's session. 排队买票买票
排队买票。
买票 like just vibing by using AI to help with coding. You nailed it. You like osmosis off AI coding. Like you vibe off components. I'm chuckling about this because it could have had a different term, right? There could have been different terms, but vibing, the choice in the terminology is pretty on point, pretty on brand. Guess you've been doing that? Probably not to the extent, but I'm sure some elements of it. Maybe not to the extent that some people are worried about. Where like they take the entire foundation and then that forms the entire foundation of some people are a little worried, analog brain people are worried that what if the data set had an erroneous foundation, like a vulnerability, right? Think about Microsoft, think about YouTube, or think about Intel, think about hardware. So you have a foundational vulnerable in the code. So when you vibe AI will pick statistically the most overrepresented code as the foundation. So there's no oversight. There will be less and less oversight of propagation of the same functional code with the same vulnerabilities. It gets propagated through vibing, as opposed to systematically building and rebuilding, going through checks and balances and QCing, right? So, like, the next iteration of something has intentional oversight of rebuilding. And that's scary. So, most of the time now, there are checks and balances for that. So, catalog all the existing known vulnerabilities. Maybe you run an AI against another AI, maybe. Like, I can imagine a scene where you take multiple layers of AI, right? Take one AI that's used to capture and train on data sets, capturing all the existing known vulnerabilities in existing data structures. But that involves an agreement for proprietary source code for everyone, right? But you might not be guaranteed for that. And also, all the data sets are hard to curate because of how much the data set's going to bloom, right? There's so many codes that get propagated. So it's going to be tough, but I could see like an AI overseeing an AI, but they're both still being overseen by human oversight in order to capture fundamental coding propagation, because I can definitely see it multiplying like fast. You have one vulnerability, like for example, the Spectre vulnerability in Intel's products, right? And then it just, oh, turns out that thing is in all of the other existing products. What do we do? And now you have an entire generation where the data set for the codes can be from any of those era of potential propagated code on top of any other future code that could have vulnerabilities. Meanwhile, vibe coding through AI, through the datasets. So, cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is an excellent, excellent place in the future. That wouldn't be a vibe. No, yeah, that wouldn't be a vibe. I mean, you might be thinking, "Oh, I'm over exaggerating." There's no way that's gonna happen. Um, have you like it doesn't even have to be programming, right? Have you seen nutritional facts and fitness influencers? Like, it happens even among humans. We were just talking about it, right? It's the first couple topics we talked about. The spreading of misinformation and the over exaggeration. Humans are already being able to do that. It doesn't even have to do with programming code. So now amplify it by like 10x or 20x productivity and propagation. I don't know how much, but it's more than simple, like, only human propagation. So then you have an amplification effect. So it doesn't, if it's not programming, it's something else. It's like erroneous conventional knowledge on amplified 4 times over. Think about the internet echo chamber being amplified. So I have a cute one. I have a non-deleterious one. One influencer was able to convince a whole community that some celebrities thing costs like thousands of dollars. Like, she spent thousands of dollars on this thing, and it turned out that she made it at home for like $5. Instant. And that's just human propagation. Is human propagating humans in echo chambers. So It would be very interesting to see what happens when AI propagates all of that on top of human oversight or human use. Like, how fast does it take for one message to become something else due to AI propagation? Crazy. We live in such a crazy world.
排队
Sub-Zero, you and I have a very, very interesting future to talk about in another 4 or 5 years. Maybe even less.
永远
Okay. I promise that was that last one. Eternity distance forever. 永远 eternal always. Uh, 我们永远是朋友. Aw, we'll be friends forever. 他永远是只想到自己. Ooh. I even felt that when I read that before I read this. Like she's forever only thinking about herself. Funny you mentioned this because you were using an AI when coding the other day. I coded a function that I later realized was wrong, scratched it, and removed the lines from my code. Then asked AI if they had a solution for the problem I described with words. Turns out it suggests the exact function that you just removed. Yikes. I didn't know it had access to your coding history because it certainly wasn't even in the code anymore. Jeez. I have a good example of this, but not in coding. That just happened yesterday. So imagine like this is my Duolingo prompt, right? Oh, wait, actually. Imagine this is my Duolingo prompt. And I needed to translate. So while I was translating, I missed a word, right? I missed a word. I wrote like, instead of forever, I wrote often. And I click on it and it's like, oh, that's wrong. Oh, I see where my error is. And then someone in chat says, oh, that's forever, by the way. I'm like, you're right. I can read that. Yep, that does say forever. Thanks. Like, you're right. I am looking for forever. Exactly. Thanks. Thank you. I think ChatGPT does that pretty easily. Like if you say it a couple of times, like yeah, that's very helpful. Thank you. I mean, it might be a little bit more helpful. Like I'm being a little bit facetious here. It might be a little bit more helpful by describing why do you think, or think about why do you think I made that error? Like, or what was the nature of the error that I made? Because stating something that already exists and it's right, like I have no counter arguments. It does say forever. So no counter argument there. Does that help me? Well, you could be like ChatGPT and just suggest the same thing. It's like, well, you know, someone did this, so it obviously must be right. But that doesn't help me with my problem. In fact, I'm not even sure if you know what the problem is. AI can't do that for you. It won't be able to do that for you. Another human being might, right? Might. Another human being might. Nowadays, I'm not even sure if that is a majority thing. What was the quote that I had earlier? The capacity for learning, right? The capacity for learning is absolutely priceless. The skills and consequences of the learning process is priceless because it's something that is very unique to humans. You can attempt to imitate it using So that's kind of what they're attempting to do for machine models, right? And whatnot. But sure as heck, when you get a feedback from a machine, it's not like they're going to take into account how or in what nature you're going to make that error. But here's the right solution, or the solution that isn't working, because the only thing they're confined to is the information they have. They're not allowed to, they can't yet generate novel, emotionally intelligent suggestions. In fact, if you ask me what's wrong with your code, I'm more likely to say, I don't know, but what if I read the code with you? And you'll probably end up picking it up on your own because more eyes, more attention, different perspective. A machine will just tell you what is. They don't, at least for now, they don't know what it's like to be a human being, right? And I think other people treat other people as though they're not human beings. When they're solving problems, they don't treat them like human beings. They treat them like things to be solved. And I think the internet does that perfectly fine. If you spend all day having a machine tell you what's wrong and what's right, then obviously you're gonna start behaving like that towards other people. It's like, hey, did you know you just got that answer wrong? Yeah, you're right. I mean, you got me. I'll try not to make that error again. Like, well, the right answer is this. It's like, thanks. I know what the right answer is now, but that knowing the right answer is probably the least helpful thing to preventing someone from making that error again. It might seem like the most logical thing. Like, the most logical thing is, if you know the right answer, obviously you're not going to make the mistake again, right? 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 I wish that was, I mean, that would be fun if that's how humans work. I mean,
永远
sign me up. Sign me up. Whoever thinks that's how human operates, sign me up to however I can get that ability. Just like when you were talking about my habits, Sub-Zero. I would love to sign up for whatever program that says, if I know the right answer, I can't make the error again. And that the fastest, most efficient way to be consistent in a skill is to know the right thing. Sign me up. I hope it's free, by the way. It doesn't cost a subscription of $50 a month. Or subscribing and prescribing to a cult. Or maybe even short of selling my soul, maybe. Something like that. Also plugging someone's channel. That's another thing.
欢迎
I'm getting a little sassy today. I think I might have to skip on Duolingo Spanish. Okay, I'm a little unhinged. I'm gonna wind it back a little. 欢迎, yeah, I use this phrase all the time, so that's fine. Joyously greet. 欢迎. Alright, we're gonna cut some corners.
欢迎称号
称号 name number title 称号 I'm okay with that. We're fine. 称号
称号眼睛 欢迎，永远，排队，称号，
Okay, today is going to be the true test of how quickly I can do things. 句子 is fine. We're good.
句子，
句子
球队，
球队 no, I'm good with this. It speaks for itself. It's basically sports, but ball and team. We gotta head out. Lock in for. Yeah, take care. Sub-Zero. Good luck with the rest of your day. Good chat. Good chat. Yeah, later. Bring back some stories.
球队，名称，
Chung, just name and name. Hmm.
名称，永不，
Yong. Ooh, eternity. No. All right, I'm okay with that.
永不，句点，
Sentence spot for period. Oh, okay. No, I'm okay with that too. A sentence spot. Period. A sentence point. Is this point too? Oh, there it is. A sentence dot or point. All right, we're fine.
句点，句子，永不，名称，句点，球队，
All right, let's go.
偏，
Ian. Oh no, piece of writing. Oh no. Okay. Got booklet, bamboo, and a door. Okay. So Pinocchio is in front of the pawn shop where he's composing a piece of writing. On top of a flat door, he has a booklet. Okay, sure. He uses a piece of bamboo to compose his piece of writing. The patrons of the pawn shop, okay. Shop look at him strangely as they go in and out of the front door. The title of his work is, of course, Trying to Become a Real Boy. Okay. Front of the pawn shop. It's weird because he has a door. Okay, got it. All right. No time.
偏，挺，
To erect. 停. This one's gonna be tough tomorrow. Okay, Timmy Turner is in the basement of the English Manor. Okay, where he's trying to fix his posture by standing more erect. He does this by first stretching. Got it. Then holding out a spool of thread at the tip of his fingers. Oh, like this. Or, oh no, like this. While standing perfectly erect. His friend, a finger, stands next to him. And the dusty statues. What the heck is going on? Stands next to him and the dusty statues and hits him whenever he's not standing erectly. I'm not sure how I feel about this one. Spool. That's supposed to be a spool. Hard to tell. Oh, okay.
挺情
Qing. Oh no. So we have one difference, right? This is a Qing. Oh my gosh. Okay. So we still have the beanstalk again. Only this time we're inside the English manor. Okay. So Kirby is inside of the English manor where there's a moon. Hyperdrive. Okay. Hanging from the ceiling. Lighting up everything below on the red velvet carpet. Kirby drops a seed. Okay, turns into beanstalk again. He climbs up to the moon again. He gives it one big punch. And it turns into a sun. Oh, making the inside of the manor very sunny. Okay, he calls it... Okay, so he basically switched the moon up. Okay, alright, I got it. Punch. Okay, okay. This can relate with the other Qing. All the Qings. Or most of the Qings.
情味
Oh no, I don't recognize which one this is supposed to be. Qing was fine because it's not a it's also simplified. Hello. Way. Oh, that way. Okay. Walter White is in the bathroom of the beach house. Okay, by the bay. Going to the bathroom. He hears a ring in the bathroom and looks inside. There's a rice field in the bathtub. And on top of a hair clip? Oh, barrette? With a mouth that is making the ringing sound. He picks up the barrette and speaks into the mouth. Hello? Oh, I see. Making a telephone? Hello? The barrette simply repeats the word hello back to him, making him more confused. Sheesh. This is gonna be tough later.
味业
Yeah. Or profession. I don't know what this is either. Yoshi is in the bathroom of the electricity plant, where he works as a janitor. Don't I have another yeah? Oh, I do have another yeah. It's for Paige. Oh no. Okay, that is his profession. He goes around cleaning the bathroom, which has a bunch of strange things on the... Okay. A laurel wreath. I see it. A pair of fins. Oh, those fins. And hiding in the stall is an electric sheep. Okay. Yoshi slowly cleans it up. He loves his profession. Does Yoshi dream of electric sheep? He most certainly does. In the bathroom of the electric plant. Okay. That is his profession. Alright. We're fine. We'll have to think about this tomorrow. Okay.
业
We got this. And it's gone. Someone in the front. Pinocchio.
偏 业情味挺
Alright. Oh no, that's not the end. Oh no. That's a market? It's not a city? Oh jeez. Oh, and there's only one meaning for it. Shrek is in the bathroom of the house. Okay. Looking for things to take to the market so that he can get some pocket change. Okay, he finds a lid and a towel. He rips off the toilet lid and places it under his arms then grabs a bunch of hanging towels. Shrek thinks this is some sort of market venture, but in reality, he is just stealing, frankly, worthless goods, since this house isn't even hit. Oh, nobody at the market will want them anymore. Oh, yeah. 市场. Oh, right. 超市. 城市. How does that work? I'm gonna put city as well. Because it's city. Well. Okay.
是
Sure. Oops. I already started.
其
Wait. Is that a hamper? Oh, yeah, that's a hamper. Yeah. Oh, no. It's a single component. It's so short. Okay. Yeah. There's. There? I can kind of see it. Kirby, I'm familiar with this character though. Kirby is inside the living room of the house, dragging around their clothes hamper. The clothes hamper even has written on it Kirby's, so that's all we know is theirs. It's empty because Kirby never wears clothes. That's not true. Oh, I mean, he wears helmets. Helmets count as clothes. Yeah, 其他 there's. I almost want to feel like others too. But yeah, 其他 actually 其实有时啊尤其尤其 I don't know if I like theirs. Like this will say theirs, they, others. Like there's they, there's he. But it's more like other he. Like other people, other things. I want to put other just in case. Like another. That's we're gonna have to fill that out. Fine.
其海
Okay, this one's fine. Mother, we didn't get mother yet. Wow. Oh, okay, that description was uncalled for. Hit woman. Oh, the gun and the mother. Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh my goodness. Hit woman? I'm gonna put hitman as well, but it's not because a profession. It's not because of like the gender, but more of a profession. Jerk reflex. Probably not an assassin. Hit ma? Oh my gosh, where is this going? Okay.
海
Okay, hi. Hi is fine though. Harry Potter is in the basement of the high school. He is battling a muggle hit woman hired by Lord Voldemort. He who shall not be named. To take him out, he casts a spell on the fire sprinklers in the basement, which promptly starts spraying water out at an instant rate. The basement turns into a miniature sea. They stand on some floating boxes of SAT books and continue their battle on the turbulent sea. Okay. That's okay. I'm okay with high.
海 海
son of a bee sting.
骑
Wait. That's gonna be tough.
是
Okay. We gotta lock in. Oh, I need to lock in. So hard today. It's gonna be, we're just shoot it, right? Shoot, shoot, shoot. Okay.
为什么
Okay.
比如
非常有用的网站，比如汉字英雄。
I can't move that fast. I gotta think about it.
来自
你来自哪里？
Where is self? Where did you come to? Oh, come from? Okay. Comes from, yeah, that's a weird one. Okay.
因为
因为火车太慢了。
教绝 车票
我买了2张车票，
更 本人
你本人怎么觉得？
先
No time for commentary.
易店
我该存多一点钱。
所以
天太冷，所以我不去了。
青春
青春不在，
忽视
不要忽视健康问题。
时刻
我永远不会忘记那时刻。
能开心
我不开心。
18
18个学生在教室里，
因 月主要
家庭主要成员，
the heck? Oh, yeah. It's a universal want? I don't know. Necessary? Main. Oh. How do I know this is main? The master. Oh, dang it. It was master, right? Master is the key. I don't have time for this.
可以思流自由
思想自由，
What are you? What are you? Reason? Up to yourself?
虽平常
这种事很平常。
That was a misspelling, that's fine.
只好
下雨了，我们只好回家。
Oh, I got stuck on this earlier too. Only good? The only good option, like, must? Must is good enough. Have to. I'm not gonna think about this too much.
时间
我们没什么时间，
位子
那是我的位子。
可爱别人
别人的东西，
Wait.
体会
深刻的体会，
深刻的体会。
受到
足球队受到了非常热烈的欢迎。
吃饭
我们一起吃饭吧。
说话
他不
碎慢跑
他慢跑了一，
而
I can't spell bureaucrat right now.
第一，
我的
动作，
动作缓慢，
Wait. Motion? Movement? Wait, what the heck is 上下文
上下文，
这个词的上下文
context? Okay. Oh, Japanese overlap. Oh no. Oh no. Wait. Bamboo. Glove. Oh.
答，
Okay.
送给，
谢谢你送给我这么好的礼物。
四，日，好玩，
我们
远，生，谢，以后，
以后不会再发生了。
骗，
Ah, that's not right. Wait. Ian. Like a flat thing? A slice. Oh my gosh, a slice is a strip too. Jeez. Oh, what are you? A dream catcher, right? Yeah.
听写，
学生听写生字，
歌，
Oh no.
男子，
中年男子，
I got it. I think we nailed that. Mnemonic now. A modified mnemonic. Ugh, what are you?
急忙，
他急忙上前迎接他。
山，拉开，
拉开抽屉，
Okay, that's fine. I'll take it.
他们，
他们都是老师。
Or they. Yeah, okay. Is it 4?
气味，
气味难闻，
几千，
几千名学生，
人，路灯，
入黑路灯都亮了。
背后，
我去躲在门背后。
Wait, this supposed to be vest? Back? After? Back behind. Oh, just behind. One of them is vest, and I don't remember it anymore. We'll see.
口味，
个人
味，
We're doing not so bad. I mean, whoops. Before I start typing in Domoji.
9000，
9000美金太贵了。
Oh, this is it.
背心，
我今天穿了一件新背心。
爸，男人，
这位男
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Okay, I got it.
母，
Okay.
而且，
我爸爸不但会开车，而且会修车。
Bigfoot. No. It's not in the basement. That's the another thing. Someone went into the bathroom, right? And there was manure, but an elbow sticking out. So they took the elbow to cover. It's cover. But who was covering the stuff? It's not. Wow, no. It's not Dao. No. No. Not Jimmy Neutron. Dang it. Shrek? No. How do I cover things? Hey, I genuinely do not know who's in it. Who's in the bathroom. What are my vocabularies? Yeah, I have no vocabulary words for this either. Oh. Yeah, there's an elbow sticking out, right? So you pulled a large, like a big mane, and covered the elbow. I don't know. Tarzan? Gosh dang it. Second Tarzan. There's no way can remember a main character without any context. Tarzan didn't do anything remarkably Tarzan-y. Ugh.
健身房、
我爸
电灯、
电灯把大街照得烁亮。
拉票、
他们正在街头拉票。
木、变、套、找到、
我会找到他。
船、粪、虽说、
虽说我七老八十了，
拿、
Son of a... What? Wait. What? What is... Oh no, what is this? Wait. Hold up. Fortune. It was... pawn shop, right?
粘、大力、
他大力的讲课。
口才、
赞叹他的口才。
商、收、网友、
我的网友很奇怪。
进、欢快、
欢快的曲调。
上床、
你通常几点上床睡觉？
开车、
你开车去工作吗？
课、是、王、起、
Oh no. What did they go with this? Rise? To begin, I need to rise. Well, risen. Hmm.
北京，
北京的冬天真冷啊！
错过，
我错过了最后一班公车。
一边，
一边是对的，一边是错的。
问好，
他向您问好。
To ask well? Acquaintance? To send regards. Oh, heckin' Wenhall. I have no time to think of that. Wenhall and applaud, man. Applaud and send regards. Oh, Wenhall. Oh no, ghost and something in the bathroom. Koopa.
快，同样，
他们有同样的兴趣。
7月，
7月是最
旁，看病，
他感冒了，所以去看病了。
那里，
我想去那里。
文明，
我最喜欢的游戏是《文明6》。
买，半年，
我已经学了半年的中文。
看来，
看来要下雨了。
明知，
他明知自己错了。
割，批，是吗？
那只狗真的很可爱，是吗？
Oh, is this silenced?
那儿，
他在那儿立了半天了。
病床，
我在他病床旁边。
真的，
兔子真的很可爱。
Oh, that's le. What am I doing?
L.
That's a pretty weird one to miss by accident. That's not bad. Not bad. We hit it really, really quick. That was, today was really, really good. Even with the... lots of red because I was, rushing. Only one from yesterday, right? Yeah. That's not bad. That's below average. Alright, let's below average errors. Pretty good. We knocked it out pretty quickly. Alright, so let's discipline, do our due diligence. FC and mother, and apparently hit woman is not on here for whatever reason. Weird. Intriguing. It's not listed here. It's missing the entry. Oh. Oh, these are gonna be tough. Door outside. Pinocchio. In. Profession. Coral reef. Fins. An electric sheep. Yeah. Ting. Hair clip. This was bathroom. Rice patty mouth. Saying hello. Wait. Stretch. Spool of threads with fingers. Go back to that. A hamper. Kirby. Oh. Under pressure, doing pretty alright, honestly. Who is stretching? The spool of thread and finger. Someone was getting whacked repeatedly. Erect as well. Okay. Okay. Under pressure to perform. Yanjing. Wang Ying. Yong. Yong. Yongyuan. Just making sure I know them. I 排队 Oh. Oh. 句子永不名称驻点驻点 What the heck is 驻点? Oh, hear it. 球队 Not bad, not bad. All right. Still retained all of it. So Tarzan. Over this one. Tarzan. Bathroom. Barn. Elbow sticking out the manure. Went to grab the mane. And a large mane to cover it. Pinocchio fronts pawn shop. Pawn shop. Door. On a flat door. Was writing a booklet. Oops. Booklet with bamboo. About looking for a Geppetto, right? Or how to be a real boy, right? Writing a piece of writing. Let's see. Yoshi is back in the bathroom with the electric plant. This time, Laurel Reef. Found Laurel Reef. Some fins, and an electric sheep. And it's cleaning up all of this stuff, right? It's its profession. Okay. Kirby. Inside English Manor. Where there's a moon illuminating everything. He put down a beanstalk. Modified beanstalk. And climb up it, slapped it around, and it became a sun, right? So it's all sunny again. We have Walter, bathroom, beach house by the bay. and he found in the bathtub a rice field with a barrette and mouth, and he talked into it and said hello, and it said hello back. Puzzling, yes. Okay. Timmy Turner, basements. Basement of the English manor. Trying to fix his posture by stretching, and his friend one finger was stretching and using a spool of thread, and his one finger friend slapping him every time he's not holding the posture right, staying erectly. Okay, we have Harry Potter, basement, high school. Oh wait, that's not C. Oh, this is the hit mother. Whoops. The hit woman. I'm thinking of the C. That's why. So you have the mother, that hit mother, and what is this about a spray? I don't remember at all what the Harry Potter one is. In the basement of the high school. I don't remember this one at all. It's okay. It won't be a problem. Something about a hit woman showed up and shot at something that caused instant spraying of the sprinklers. The hit woman cast something, caused the sprinklers to go off, creating a C in the basement, right? Then we have Kirby inside the house. Dragging around a hamper. That has Kirby written on it. So you know that it's theirs. And then we have Shrek. Bathroom. Beach house. Trying to do a business venture by taking a lid and some towels, but ultimately to the market, but it's probably gonna be useless, worthless. Okay, all right, and let's do our errors. This one, jerk reflex, it's obviously La. I don't want to talk about it. We know did. Non-issue. Wen Hao. To send regards. That's rote memory. It's fine. Send regards. Occasionally I forget. Oh, asterisk this. T. T is synonym. Largely because it's bigger than that. It's also rise and risen, but begin is what they want. That's a non-issue. Oh, Ian. It's a slice, but it's also a strip. So, we're fine. It's a non-issue. Like a flat thing. It's like a flat piece of something. Okay. Sure, how? Why did I get this wrong again? Sure, how? Only good? Is main? Primary? Oh no, not this one. Sure, how is... Oh, have to. But it's also must. So I think we're gonna be fine with that. This is non-issue now. I was choking under pressure on this one. There's nothing to talk about. It's just gel. Non-issue. This one, main. Main is gonna be a little tough. I need to remember master. Yeah. In mind, it's master. I keep thinking of dwell instead. Master. So that will lead to main. Not that great. So, and then this one, I couldn't. I had no idea. Couldn't remember who the person was. I was in the bathroom doing the thing. The rest of the mnemonic is fine. So, yeah. It was Tarzan. Not bad. Not bad from yesterday, really. Okay. So we gotta... It's 3 a.m. It's fine. I'll be able to do this. We'll be a little quicker on the Spanish side of things. Right, that's a wrap for HanziHero. A long digression. It's something I've been working on. I don't know when I'm gonna turn those stories and those things into something. But I wanted to share that part for some time. I've talked about it several times, bits and pieces. Today I had like it's fun chatting about these things. Talked about like emotional intelligence. It's a lot of focus on emotional intelligence. Working in a group, right? Working in a group, describing changes over time, obligation, learning how to be sustainable, discipline, specifically a lot of discipline. Yeah. Life has a way of providing perspective and relatives. Lots of hot takes. Sorry about the incredible amount of hot takes. Might have ruffled a few feathers here and there. Right. Right for HanziHero and Chinese. If you're gonna watch this later, 谢谢. My voice is kind of rough as well. I'm gonna quickly go to the bathroom. Hydrate a little bit. Get another bump of energy. I'll be back for Spanish. 下次见 for those who are only interested in Chinese. Thank you.